Hey, what's up soldiers? My name is GregFPS and welcome back to another video here today on my channel. Today, if you guys didn't know, is D-Day. On June 6, 1944, that was one of the biggest operations in US military history and just history of the world. This was a pivotal moment during World War II known as Operation Overlord, and I wanted to talk about it today. The gameplay you guys are going to be watching is some campaign gameplay from Call of Duty 2, which is actually about D-Day. If you guys want to check out a full playlist down in the description, you can, and that will be for the entire Call of Duty 2 playthrough of the campaign if you guys want to check that out, as well as this specific mission. Now today guys, I really wanted to talk about this because I thought it was really important that everyone knows what actually went on during World War II, because I feel like there's so many people that they just don't even know what D-Day is, and I think that it's really important that it's something you guys learn about and you guys are made aware of, because I always remember June 6, 1944 ever since it was engraved in my head watching the History Channel when I was like 12 years old. So anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it guys. D-Day Operation Overlord occurred on June 6, 1944. There was 150,000 Allied troops, and the Allied troops consisted of Americans, British, as well as Canadians, and there was 40,000 Nazi troops. So basically the Allied troops were outnumbering almost 4-1 of the Nazis. Basically after this occurred, 4,413 people were killed, and there was more unconfirmed deaths as well as like people just going missing, MIA, and I'm assuming there's a lot more deaths as well. So basically it was split up. Normandy, France, this is where it took place, and basically the Allied troops were invading the beach. There was 5 different sections. The US controlled Utah and Omaha. Those were the 2 that the US went to. Then Gold and Sword were the ones that the UK went to, and then Juno was the one that the Canadians went to. So basically it was just made up of those 3 countries fighting. And the craziest thing that happened was they were all on time correctly. They had been planning this invasion for almost 2 years, because the Allied troops knew that in order to, end the war, they needed to invade Berlin, and this was kind of the first step into storming the gates of Berlin and actually ending the war for the Allied forces to win the war. So basically at 9:36 a.m. that's when the first boats appeared on the coast of Normandy and on the beach. And it's crazy to think about, because basically what ended up happening was there was these pillboxes set up, and they were really strong pillboxes. They had concrete with steel enforced in it, and basically a bunch of turrets, and the Nazis were literally just mowing down people. The primary gun that they used was the MG42, and it was the deadliest weapon for the Nazis, and it was known as Hitler's buzzsaw. It's actually in Zombies, the MG42 in World at War, which I thought was pretty interesting. Basically what ended up happening was it was kind of a fail on the Allies' part. That morning it was very foggy, and they had 446 heavy bombers go over the area to kind of soften it up and blow up some stuff, and cause like confusion and make it worse for the Nazis. But the thing about it was the fog was so bad that none of the bombers, 446 bombers who all dropped at least probably 20 bombs, none of them hit the target that they were set for. So it was just like a really bad mission, really bad mistake on the Allied forces, and that really sucked. They all ended up dropping it afterwards, or after the target. So it wasn't very good, and that really did not help at all, just because it wasn't very visible. Now many troops were gunned down as soon as they entered or got out of the boat. Even in the water they were gunned down, and this was known as like the deadliest day in World War II as well, which I thought was really interesting. The reason that it was so hard for the forces to actually move and get out of the line of sight was because they had backpacks. They had a lot of heavy stuff in their backpack, and they just couldn't get to the coast as soon as they could. Some of the people that survived actually ended up dropping their backpacks when they got in the water and just went, and I think that was obviously the best strategy. Now the thing about this was you got to keep in mind guys, this is a huge beach, but there was 2 turrets on either side of the beach, basically like where the soldiers are getting off, that's where they're looking at, and they're basically picking people off 100% like horizontally. So there was literally a line of sight for every possible area on that beach until they literally got up to like the mountainside part of it. So they were literally just getting bombarded with grenades, with turrets like tanks, the LMGs, everything like that. They were just getting bombarded, and honestly, that's horrible and really scary. And eventually the US ended up invading, and they had to break through barbed wire, and then they used flamethrowers, grenades, and stuff like that to kind of kill all the Germans that were inside the pillboxes. A lot of Germans actually retreated as well, which I thought was very interesting. So that is basically, and they also forfeited as well. So that is basically World War II and Operation Overlord. I thought it was really interesting. Like I said, 4,413 people died. And if you guys want to see a really good interpretation of this, check out Saving Private Ryan. It's one of the best movies that has to do with World War II as far as accuracy goes. Obviously it's historical fiction. It wasn't actually an actual story, but a lot of the battles that happened and took place in that movie were real, and it's really, really good. So I recommend you guys check that out if you haven't seen it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, this was some Call of Duty 2 campaign gameplay. You can check out the links down in the description if you want to see more of it. My name is GregFPS, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.